Now let's pick up some of Marco Rubio, who's speaking at the NRA convention.
When our enemies are undetectable, untraceable, and their deeds unpredictable, when homegrown terrorists lash out in lone wolf attacks, when unstable individuals, sometimes mentally ill, sometimes evil, attempt atrocities against innocent Americans, and most commonly when the innocent are the targets of unpredictable domestic crime, with only themselves for protection until the police can be called. The framers of our Constitution had a plan for these instances too. And that brings me to what the President is constitutionally forbidden to do. The presidential oath of office contains no asterisks. It contains no fine print. Our President swears to preserve, protect, and defend the entire Constitution of the United States, not just the parts he likes. Thanks to the Second Amendment, the President has no authority to limit the strength of our law-abiding citizens. The President has no authority to tell a father he cannot own a gun to defend his family and property. The President has no authority to tell a young woman she is better off without the protection of a firearm. The President has no authority to tell a hunter, a sportsman, or any law-abiding American what kind of weapon is right for him or her. And it is bad enough that this administration has attempted these very things in routine moments. For example, with the failed ammunition ban earlier this year. But it is even worse when the President has wielded human tragedy in an attempt to subvert our rights. The sins of the evil do not justify restricting the rights of the good. In fact, the sins of the evil make those rights more critical. Because when our enemies come now, they no longer come with 6-round revolvers. Stricter gun laws will never deter criminals and terrorists. If laws stopped murderers, there wouldn't be murderers in the first place. In fact, 42% of the perpetrators of mass shootings already possess their guns illegally. Those who will be stopped are the law-abiding targets of these crimes. It's very simple. The stricter the gun control laws, the larger the advantage we hand to the would-be attackers. And the more gun-free zones we establish, the more tempting targets we've created. Now, some will be skeptical about what I just said. Maybe not any of you in this room, but some. So I ask you this question. The next time you drive through your neighborhood, count how many of your neighbors have signs announcing that their home is armed with a security system. And then I want you to compare that to how many of them have signs declaring their home to be a gun-free zone. To our people, the risk of announcing our lack of preparedness is obvious. So why don't our leaders in Washington understand that? Whatever their miscalculation is, it's a risk to all of us, including Washington itself. Washington, D.C. makes a tempting target for enemies, both foreign and domestic. And yet nowhere in this country are the gun laws more restrictive than in D.C. Our capital city is not just the location of government leaders. It's filled with visiting school students and touring families. And it is inexcusable that in Washington, the seat of our people's power, the constitutional right to bear arms, is constantly in jeopardy. And that's why I took action last month to roll back D.C.'s restrictive gun laws. My legislation would allow D.C.'s law-abiding residents and visitors firearms to protect their homes, their businesses, and their families. This legislation will bring strength to D.C. on the citizen level. But Washington needs strength in another sense as well. And the strength I'm talking about won't come from a bill. It will come from a president who understands the world is at its safest when America is at its strongest. It will come from a president who understands that America is at its strongest when our people are at their freest. And it will come from a president who understands that he has a duty that must never be neglected, and our people have a right that must never be denied. So let me close. Let me close because I'm running out of water. Let me close by with a look ahead. So I began with my remarks saying our nation has reached the turning point on many issues. I believe that fact is beyond debate. I think what's yet to be determined is which direction will it turn. Everything that's at stake in our next election, from the future of the Second Amendment to the security of our people in a global world, to the financial opportunities available to everyone, it all combines together into a challenge that I believe will define our generation. And that is the future of the American dream. My parents came to America in 1956 with little more than their dreams of a better life. But over time, my dad working as a bartender in a hotel and my mother working as a maid, a stock clerk, a cashier at Kmart, they were able to achieve the American dream. Because the real American dream isn't about how big your house is. The real American dream is not about how many things you own on the day you die. The real American dream is about having a job that pays a comfortable wage. It's about raising your family in a safe neighborhood and having the right to defend them. It's about seeing your children earn a good education. It's about having the freedom to do the things you value with the people that you love. It's about retiring with dignity after a long life of hard work. And the American dream is about one more thing more than any other. It's about giving your children the chance to do the things you never could, go to the places you could never go, and open the doors that were closed to you. My parents achieved this dream, but many people today find it slipping out of reach. And that's because our world and our economy are pushing the boundaries of the 21st century. But our government remains stuck in the 20th century. The question facing our generation is this: will we reclaim the American dream for all Americans by reforming and modernizing Washington, by applying the genius of our founding to the challenges of our time? Or will you and I become the first generation in history to leave our children worse off than ourselves? That is the question that will define this generation. And I, for one, have an answer in mind. And so in just 3 days in Miami, I will announce whether I will run for president, for re-election to the Senate, or for commissioner of the National Football League. And the NFL commissioner is probably a little too powerful for me, so we may have to. But regardless of what I decide to do about my future, the upcoming election will not be about any one person. For no problem facing our nation can be solved by any single person working alone. And that's why I'm so grateful for the work each of you and all NRA members are doing every single day. The American people will never achieve the American dream if they are not safe. Living in a safe neighborhood, going to work in a safe office, going about our daily lives without fear for ourselves or our children. These are the goals fundamental to the American dream. And a strong Second Amendment will ensure a strong America for your family, for my family, and for every family in this nation. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for your work. God bless our country. Thank you. Thank you.